So we'll start this one with Hi Dad. I'm hoping he's going to watch this one. But to all you lovely viewers, we're going to do another 800 to 1000 game. We'll do an analysis. I'm going to try and run this one through a little quicker. I know my last ones have run kind of long. So let's do an analysis of this game, see what these players could do better or worse. And by no means am I the ultimate authority on everything chess. Basically, one thing I found out is the more I learn about chess, the more I realize I'm actually just terrible at it. So hopefully becoming less terrible. Let's see what these players did. Which side do we want to look at? Well, we'll just play from this side. This looks good to me. First moves. Okay. Interesting. Now, I'm pretty sure at a master level, this is considered a viable opening, but at the beginner level, I would just stick with that. You're just going to be better off. You want to control the center because that's where you want to eventually be able to get your knights to, because well, it's going to be the launching point from attacks to either side. If you control the center, you can kind of stuff your opponent's play on one side or the other of the board. Whoever controls the center controls the direction of the flow of the fight. So we have a queen's pawn, probably to stuff this bishop that's inevitably coming out there, and that what that's called is a fianchetto, that white bishop off in the corner where it's going to go. Okay, we go with a double fianchetto. Interesting, but then we're giving up control of all of this. Ooh, that's a fun arrow. Okay, so we have the knight to additionally protect this, presumably. Personally, I would have played the other knight forward because I'm predicting that this this bishop's going to come out. And so you want to be planning to protect the next pawn that you want to push to the middle. Just a thought, but not entirely necessary. Always look at what your opponent's planning on doing, because this pawn's already defended by your queen. Maybe black forgot which side was the king was on. I don't know. Okay, so very passive play for white. Black's getting a lot of time to really just develop whichever way they sort of feel like. There might already even be tricks that I'm not seeing here. Okay, finally we have the center taken. So that's good. We now control there. That's black. So we have lots of good places for our knight to go. We can end up here. That's nice. Let's see how this game progresses. We got white threatening that pawn, which is already defended twice. So we don't need to worry about it too much. So what happens next? Okay, that knight came out. This is a very common setup. I think actually this is similar to how a computer used to play a game. Like it was its go-to setup way back. Is just always go for this, and then just sort of play it out from there. I mean, not horrible. These are the squares that you want your knights to land on because, again, they protect the middle. They also additionally protect these squares, and they have the benefit of being able to eventually launch into any side and start threatening weak pawns like this or like this. But we'll see what's going to happen next. Okay, interesting. So I don't know if white's just going after this pawn or if they're just developing at this point. Okay, so we have the first pawn push. So this is an interesting one. Personally, I might have gone the other way. Whoops, I don't know why I always do that. Okay, I might have gone the other way because if you get this pawn here, then you're kind of making this bishop bite granite. It's kind of worthless. The first two moves he made serve no purpose. Downside being, this becomes an easy square, that becomes a target. So we have this. So we calculate this takes this. That's threatening the knight. The queen can come in with a check. Queen can defend. The knight can move. Threaten the queen. Queen can take queen. King takes queen. And knight can jump in there with check. King moves over, grabs the rook. That's something we could see potentially happening. But black would likely see that some of that's coming. Hopefully would see some of that coming. Be able to prevent it. Anyway, so take as predicted. So now either this knight has to move, and oh yeah, it obviously couldn't move there. I'm an idiot. No, protected by bishop. Yeah, so it would be okay, but you could get a trade going. So not the worst case scenario. Okay, so the knight has to move, or we have to do an attack that causes equal or greater threat. So that means counter-threatening a piece like, say, this, this, really basically any of these pieces. If we can threaten them, we might be okay. So what do we have? Okay, just defend. So counter-attack, again, doubly defended. And the downside of this is you're kind of undeveloping a piece. So maybe worth predicting when you bring these knights out, predicting what they were going to do. And yeah, just being willing to go here or something like that instead. Or even here. Yeah. But the thing is white's just struggling so much with their opening. Like you can see they're already retreating because they didn't take any of the middle, so now all of their pieces are choking. Like when the knight was here, he didn't have here to go. These aren't the greatest squares. Hard to say. So bishop out, we're just really focused on protecting this one pawn, I guess. I don't know. Personally, good on you for developing the piece. I could see a plan being to push this pawn in order to threaten this piece. So maybe if you get the knight out and you can get the queen out to here, you can apply some pressure over here and maybe even get a quick checkmate. Who knows? So, yep. Not too worried about that pawn though. Castling, well, it was a good move. I mean, better sooner than later, I suppose. Fun fact, white could just take this and then just screw up your structure. But I mean, down a bishop for a knight, and as you'll remember, you want to keep knights. You keep bishops over knights. Okay. So where are we going with this? Just getting king out of the middle, I guess. It wasn't under any threats of check, so it wasn't like completely necessary. If you had a winning attack, I would have just gone with it right there. I'm really sort of hoping that I see this move made, but fully expecting this. But then you might even still be able to take it, and then when the king takes, then you can just push with check. He has to move out of the way. Or the knight can go to the middle and you can just take everything, go like this, and then like this, and then like this. But if the king moves here and then out of the way, then you can just, since your pawn would be up here, you could just take this with check. King's gonna come back here. I mean, you got queen. Good news all around. Then you could also bring in knight, and then you get this, and then you're counter-threatening that and bringing in the great moves. You're in a good position. Like I think it would be fairly safe to do this. Like you got a pretty good attack. You would even have a pretty good attack to sacrifice that knight, to be completely honest, because you're going to get it back right away on this knight, probably with a pawn as well. So it would put you ahead. Okay, so that's just interesting. Again, not the worst idea to push this, although now that would force the knight to move. This is going to come here. So something that white needs to think about when they're doing something like this is that now this bishop is basically useless. Like, if this pawn pushes forward, first of all, you've given them this pawn that's ridiculously advanced, like starting to control a lot of squares, and it's choking out your queen, your bishop. This pawn is, like, that was a bad positional move, personally. I think they're just too fixated on this pawn. So, okay, you push here. Get that out, you could bring this in for a check, and you don't have anything concrete yet. Okay. So what this move does is this pins the knight to the king, so the knight cannot take this piece. So if we move here, then you've got this. Not the worst in the world. Again, is pawn and bishop for pawn and bishop, but you would get that with threat against this knight here. So not the worst case scenario. Okay, trade in here. Okay. Interesting. So I want to bet that black moves back here, this pawn gets pushed, and then you come back here, and then, well, it's not trapped as long as you make sure to get that pawn out, but... Oh, sacrificing the bishop? That's spicy. Oof, dangerous too, because this knight is protected not only by this knight and the queen and the king, so you don't have nearly enough attackers to win a fight like that. You have to deflect something away first. So, okay, bishop is gone. Maybe as part of the brilliant plan to come in here and then check and then grab that bishop. That could be the plan. Okay, it looks like that's the plan. So, black has some clever moves here, obviously. Okay. So that's something that when you see a sacrifice like this, like somebody's doing something like this, and they're not moving this piece. Like, you almost have to just assume that they've got something, and that's when you don't just go ahead with your plan. Like, you stop and you say, okay, with this transformation, what do they want to do? If they had one free move, how can they do something with this situation? And you say, okay, so they can, for one, they can take this, and oh, that's going to come with a check, and that's irritating. Oh, that comes against the bishop, and it's threatening this pawn, and we got some issues happening here. This pawn, if we got a knight there, you're threatening rook and queen, and it's not looking too good. So anyway, we got this. So if I was black, I would have just gone check, king moves over, take the bishop, threaten the queen. If the queen moves over, then we can come in with checkmate. So the queen would have to move that way. So basically what I'm saying is instead of that move, okay, you got this, this, this. So if the queen goes here, you've got checkmate. Oh, no, that's not checkmate. I'm an idiot. I still got that knight watching. Okay, well, you still bring it back and play nice and safe. But not the worst case scenario. Yeah, I feel like you'd have something else. Like, I think then you could get this move in. But even still, back to here would not be the worst. Expecting, yeah, you don't have anything really too good from there. Anyway, that's not what was played, so we have this move. Okay. Breaking that pin. Very interesting. Except that now you are, again, now you're forked this way, that way, and this way. So when you take this rook, the queen's just going to get back. You're just going to get ahead. That bishop's probably going to come in and help the rook get to the middle. Sometimes a free pawn doesn't even help you. Let's see if that's right. Okay, better move for black. Just here, 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 here. If this, you say thank you. I was hoping... Wait, once again, I'm an idiot. This bishop is x-raying. Well, I mean, either way, you still get this, this, and then you can just move the knight somewhere else. I don't really care where. I don't know, here. Okay, then you go after this. And you can't move it forward, so, And this knight, it can't move because of this pin, so likely you'd see this pawn get pushed. Anyway, so, like I said, look for those two-step threats. Sometimes you've got them. So we have this anyway. Threatening, I guess, the pawn and the... Not really, though. This pawn is really nicely protected. And this rook is also protected. So really, unless you can convince that pawn to move somewhere else, you're not getting this rook. I mean, maybe you just want the rook trade. I'm fine with that. That's fine. Okay, interesting. Clever of white. Clever move. Again, you've still got check, capture. And you're threatening the rook. And then also, after this take, then you can take this with check. Ooh, and then return. That would be very, very, very sweet. Yes. Oh, that would be just beautiful. So, yeah. What I'm saying is do this, 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 and then, I don't know, say they do a slow move. I don't know. Say they want to get this out. They're just being ridiculous or something. Okay, you got this, 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 threatening this. So say you have another slow move. Okay, not that slow move, but then you've got that. I mean, you're likely not going to get it because you're probably not going to see two slow moves like that, but at least you do get this bishop, and you already are coming with threat on this rook, and the potential of being able to open up threats on this and x-ray through to the queen and deliver checks and mates, and it's just scary business for white in this situation. Like, white is certainly much worse. Yes, so much worse. But instead we have, ooh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So that concept that I was talking about earlier, where you do threat equal to or greater than the opponents. So they're threatening a knight. We are threatening a queen. So we got a knight already. So they could take a knight. And I mean, we could take a queen. But then they can take a queen. But then we can take a bishop. So we'd actually be up a bishop. So if you look, they would lose this, this, and this for our loss of this, this, and, well, actually in the end you would end up losing this. So it would just end up being an even trade. So here we are then. Okay, knight back to the middle. And once again, we still have that move. We have one very good move. I'm just really hoping it gets played at some point. There it is. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay, so now do we take the bishop? What's the plan here? Okay. Hold on. Let me think about this move for a second. So, I think they did that just to break the pin, but they might have had a bit of a more clever kind of plan behind it where if this pawn takes that pawn, this rook is undefended. Problem with that is that this rook can just do a trade anyway. So you do trade, trade, capture, capture. Nobody's winning. Like, that's just a series of trades, right? And then at the end, white has just that. Well, sorry, not all the way to the rook, but to this pawn. So we have an issue here. Black is missing a few opportunities to just take the win. You know? This piece is not defended. This piece is poorly defended. This piece would then be very poorly defended. So, I mean, there's all that stuff. Okay, anyway, we have this move. What is even happening? Okay, we got this. So, white completely unconcerned with their rook being hanging in the middle here. Jeez. I'm going to guess that black takes this and then is now additionally threatening this rook. And then if they push this, the queen's going to take. Sometimes a bit of a trapping of playing at this rating is like you think only the queens can do the heavy lifting. Like you're just thinking about what your queens can do, and you aren't thinking about what your knight can do. And a knight for a rook, when you're going to get a pawn out of it, not too bad. Especially if you could have had a bishop earlier. But anyway, is what it is. Okay, as predicted, it's moving here, removing the defender of the rook. Rook is now going to defend this pawn because he sees that you got 1, 2 attackers, and now you have 1, 2 defenders. Betcha this pawn's going to come forward and try and force it out of the way. Yes. Okay, giving up the pawn, which now, keep in mind, look across the board. When this rook moves, this bishop is going to be able to take that rook. So you're going to have to deal with that soon enough. But whatever the case may be. Okay, what do we see here? All right. Okay. I'm not sure what the point is going to be behind this move. Like, are you probably just trying to increase pressure here? This rook can't enter this fight. Like, there's no way you can bring that rook to the fight. I mean, you're better off to just, I don't know, at this point. I want to say, like, move this rook over here so that you can just take this one. Like, I don't know. It would be nice if you could get this rook out of the way though, so you can just come in. It would not be mate because you got 1, 2, 3 things that can go into the middle there. And I mean, it would be lovely if you could just take the queen, but you can't because the rook would be able to come in and be defended by the knight. So no wins there, except that now you have the queen, I guess, defending that square, so preventing that. If you do bring the rook down and get rid of this one, then you would have a checkmating pattern. Okay, so we have this. Everything is defending this square. Everything's attacking this square. So I'm going to bet this knight moves here. No. Okay, got some spicy moves. Bringing in the bishop. Bringing in the big guns. Okay. Okay. What's the game plan here? Hold on. What's white trying to do? They're just trying to be a thorn in the side? Or, okay, so one plan that I would see would be to go here, here, and then, well, you can't come back to here to checkmate, so, because the queen's still defending. That might be the idea, though. I doubt it. maybe they just want to bring this out. I think kind of part of it is they just want to be kind of like annoying, be like, haha, I've got a piece and you can't take it because you take this, I get you a queen. And as we all know, queens are the only ones that do anything. So we have nice, clever. Okay. Sacking a knight so that when the king comes up, we're going to move in with check. But the king does not move up. We also would have had this check. Just defending the rook from the king. Interesting. This is looking real scary, sketchy business. Like, that pawn got way too far. Honestly, I don't know why this is also not just like happening, because you take this, you move here, and then you move the queen in, and it's just checkmate. That would be a checkmate. So, do that thing. Do the thing that gets you the checkmate. It's basically forced. Like, you have one move, they would have one chance to defend it by doing something like this, and then you could, I don't know, do something else. But you'd still have the free knight. Actually, you could even just take with check. Okay. Why are you not taking this knight? It's right there. Oh, hurts my soul. You're just afraid of the check. However, you should be afraid of the check. Mate. Protected, 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 protected. Blocked by your own pawn. That is how this game ends. Really good. Interesting play from both sides. Some strokes of brilliance along there. If I were to give some suggestions, I would say look for those two-step moves, those checks, things like that. Look for backwards moves, backwards defenses. Yeah. Try and take those free pieces that are right there. If you can just find those little patterns where you just can get a check and get a discovered attack, moving a piece out of the way with check, you're going to jump a lot of points real good and quick. So, as always, I'm going to send this this game to these players. And, yeah, hope all of you guys subscribe to me on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm going to do a lot more of these. I might even do another one tonight because this is kind of fun. Yeah, let's end that recording right there. See you guys later.